Aloha everybody and welcome to part 28 of Sonic Unleashed. We are here in Adabat Jungle Joyride, the last stage of the Wii version. And this level has a whole bunch of floating rock chunks that will fall down as soon as you land on them. And they're tinted green. And when I think of floating chunks of rock that are tinted green, I immediately think of Silver the Hedgehog. So, there's that.
Sonic Unleashed 28, part 28, take 3.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a technical difficulties. Also, happy birthday!
Thank you. Now people will know when this is. Well, actually, my birthday's on Wednesday the 8th. This is being recorded on the 5th, but now you guys have some idea of, how it works, I guess.
It's crazy fortuitous timing. But, yeah, Wii version, how about that?
Okay. A while ago, I thought that this was gonna be like Eggman Land. When you mentioned that I might be in Eggman Land, like, oh, I hope this is Eggman Land because it'll be like this climactic finale to everything that's been building up over the years, and Clement and I will just spend a solid hour arguing back and forth, and he'll say the stage sucks, I'll say I appreciate how complex it is and how much it is going on. Then you'll be like, kill yourself, Nick, and I'll be like, it's a video game, and I don't mind, and whatever.
You're the worst person ever, Nick!
Yes, I am. No, seriously, you wouldn't believe, how many comments I've gotten from people saying things like, you're the worst kind of person, over how I feel about video games.
Yeah.
Then in real life, just video games. Only on the internet will you find stuff like that. It's kind of crazy to me how... It's like, if you say something that can be misinterpreted even a little bit, or if someone can, project everything they don't like, all these other people they can't stand, onto you, and basically make you the face of that. It's just really, really bad. I get it that being able to compartmentalize everybody else and just shove them into these little categories of things you like and don't like, and come up with a backstory for their entire life even though you know nothing about them. It's a way for us humans to process this confusing, overwhelming world around us. It's just a way that we can help ourselves get through the day. That said, it's a really primitive behavior that I hate. It's really dumb, and I wish people wouldn't... I wish people could find a middle ground and just try to get along with each other. Because, if I... half the things I talk about to people, half the things I say to them in a comment on YouTube or whatever, if I said that to them in real life, they'd probably understand it more. But because they don't see me in person, it's like they have this dehumanizing effect to anyone they talk to. And do you see what I'm saying?
You're describing the internet quite well, yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop. But yeah, that's the internet. Anyway.
That is the internet. So... You said you're not really familiar with the Wii version, and I'm actually... That's why I'm glad I'm doing the Wii version, because I've been getting a lot of comments from people lately that say, I've only played the HD version, I've never seen the Wii version, so this is completely new, and I've never seen this before, and so...
It's pretty new for me, too. I'm just noticing lots of new things, like the tree roots dangling over the ledges and the waterfalls in the background and everything. This is really nice art direction. They could have just made a low-resolution version of the other version, but no, they made its own thing, and I think it's beautiful for that. And this is the closest look I've ever gotten, because even when listening to somebody else play through it, I'm doing just that, just listening, while I'm looking at something in another tab, or editing a piece of art, or a video of my own, or whatever.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's there are a bunch of reviewers I like. Sometimes I don't actually watch the footage they're showing. It's nice to have a little bit of noise while I'm editing other videos and stuff.
Before we go any further, there's just a few bullet points I'd like to cover, and I'm going to try to get them out of the way as quickly as I can.
By all means.
Okay. One thing, I disagree with you that the bosses of most of the... that the names of most of the bosses in the Mega Man Zero games are stupid just because they're so hard to say. I, for one, think they are quite inspired, and you're clearly just not cultured enough to appreciate them.
Oh man, I was not expecting a Mega Man reference in this.
I freaking love Mega Man. Screw Capcom for abandoning him and neglecting the fans and all that. But anyway, I do consent, however, that the names of most of the bosses in the ZX games are quite dumb. They sound like Sonic fan characters.
It doesn't sound any different for me than for the Zero series. I still cannot remember to the life of me anything from
Trista Calvarian.
I would never remember that.
Hilig Urubuckle.
Don't know it. Like, I can remember something simple like Volt
Aztec
Catfish.
Falcon.
Volt Catfish, I don't know why, that rings true for me, but when you get something like Pegasus Sinclair or Pegasolta...
Pegasolta.
Yeah.
I'm correcting you. I don't know why I remember these things. But anyway.
This level's really annoying at this point here because, again, when the Werehog's
looks
moving a little
bad.
bit, he lunges forward, so you sort of have to be kind of stationary. Yeah, like that. You'll lunge forward if you move a little bit forward, and again, all of those green blocks will fall if you land on them, and they don't come back even when you die. So you got to be really careful where you're standing around.
As I say, I'm really looking forward to your playthrough of Mega Man ZX, by the way. That's one of my favorite Mega Man games, actually. I know the map is a huge problem, but I do like the level design and the enemies, and even the story, kind of. I mean, let's face it, it's Mega Man 05. That's basically all it is.
Pretty
It was
much.
like Advent, where they veered off in their own wildly new direction. I just really wish they made a ZX3 where we could have seen Master Thomas flood the world and Link to the Legends series. You know that's what's going to happen, but they never got around to that. Oh well, still looking forward to the ZX
Gotta mash those continuities together.
Oh, and this trial and error argument, where like you defended games like this and associated with like Mega Man games and whatnot, saying like once you know about like the levels and whatnot, it's fine. That sounded eerily similar to the argument you like debunked in your Shadow the Hedgehog LP about like, oh, it's okay if you know where all the bad spots are, because a game needs to make a good first impression, and I don't know, it just kind of seemed like you were saying the same thing that you were criticizing there. I don't know if you remember.
Okay, I get that. I'll try and elaborate. My thing with Sonic Unleashed and the difference between Shadow the Hedgehog is that Shadow the Hedgehog, it's not about platforming to me that's the problem. It's about the fact that you can easily miss a gun soldier, an alien. It's about the fact that you have to destroy all the bombs in Mad Matrix. It's about how just specific
I get it.
everything
Okay.
is. And it's like,
Yeah.
I hate when... It's not a matter of skill, it's a matter of like wandering around and stuff.
I get it, no, I understand. I wasn't like really defending Shadow for that. I was just saying that it was kind of confusing because the two arguments sounded very, very similar. But I can see where you're going for now. The daytime stages are much more straightforward, to their credit.
Yeah, and the thing with my opinion of Unleashed anyway, is that I don't think it's really too bullshit. I do think you see a lot of things coming. I don't find it to be so many gotcha surprise deaths. I know a lot of people do, and I've seen tons of blind playthroughs of Sonic Unleashed from people playing it for the first time, and I do see how they have trouble with it, and I acknowledge that. I guess
the problem is, like, yeah, you're going to have trouble, like, that very first time. But the levels, for me, are very easy to memorize. If I were to play any one of them right now, I'd see everything coming because I've already been through it enough times to memorize everything. Like, believe it or not, I not only I played these levels enough times to completely level up all of the Werehog stats, but I had, like, 99 meters of the yellow jewel stuff on the side that I couldn't spin on anything because I'd already maxed everything out. That's how much I played this game before the wow factor started to wear off on me, and yeah. So I was kind of a flake. I did love this game for a while, and then I hated it for a while, and now I'm just okay with it, because I really thought it was going to destroy Sonic. I thought that the games were just going to get dumber and dumber and more simplistic and whatnot over time, but they didn't. You know, they evolved. I get that this is just something they needed to impress people with, to reel them back in with the promise of just something new.
yeah. Have you ever thought about redoing Sonic Unleashed's review? Like, you've been responding to, this is how I was back in 2009 a few times, so I was just wondering, has the idea of going back and changing, like, Some Call Me Johnny tends to do stuff like then and now.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and yeah, maybe I will someday. It's just I don't have much time for reviews and whatnot these days, because I'm much more focused on making comics. I'm hoping to become a writer someday, at least in the comics industry. They probably won't like my art style, but, I could probably at least write a story. But I make comics, like, pretty much all the time now. And I only get to work on videos, like, on the weekends. And that's why my reviews, like my upcoming Amazing Spider-Man review, they take so long to make. It's because I just don't devote that much time to them nowadays. But maybe someday I'll find time to make a new Sonic Unleashed review.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So now we're here in the HD stage. We got in here like 2 minutes ago, but
I think it's beautiful. I love the sky, I love the lighting, I love everything. This is just wonderful to look at.
I also like that it's a lot more toned down from the last levels. I didn't like Shamar because it was a little bit too close. Like, everything was being kind of blocked by the camera. I'm not big on the fire wizards, and I wasn't big on Empire City just because of the camera angles and the crumbling girders and stuff. This one's a lot more straightforward. It's a little smaller in comparison to the other levels too, but you know, this is when the werehog, I think, is pretty fun, actually.
One of the things I love most about this stage is the music. I just wish they didn't keep cutting it out with that other music, because this is like my favorite piece of music in the game. It's just so unique and so just soft. I love it when you're near the end of the game, and before the bombastic final level, they have this eerily calming second to final level. I love it when games do that.
Yeah.
Like, you know you're getting near the end, you gotta take a breather, and then just push forward a little further. It's gonna be alright. You can do it. That's the kind of feeling it gives you. Oh, we don't have much time left, but I want to say, I want you to take a wild guess what my favorite video game is.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Metroid Prime.
Okay. Oh no!
I just had to say that.
I'm sorry! I don't like it, I'm sorry.
I understand if you think the music is forgettable and the environments are bland and the story isn't, I don't know, complex enough or whatever. I personally love the game. I love that even though it's seen from a first-person perspective, it still plays like you'd expect a Metroid game to play. The levels are all complex and interconnected in the same way. It's just seen from a different perspective, but I understand if it doesn't have enough flair to please you, but personally I love it for how simple it is. Just how little it has going on, because you can just soak it all in as if it's a real world. Like when you're just walking down the street, you don't have like robots jumping at you and whatnot, you know?
Not yet.
And I guess that's why I love Metroid Prime. It's just because it feels so real to me. It's so easy to get immersed in. I think it's just, it's minimalist, that's it. It builds up to things, and then when things finally do happen, it has a lot of impact. Like a really good old sci-fi movie or something.
I'm sure the comments is gonna be really positive about that, because they're gonna hate me. Because,
by the way, I do know how Air Fleet's theme goes.
Liar!
No, I do. I know, it's stupid music, but
you just listened to it like 5 seconds before this video.
No. Nope. I've wanted to bring that up for years.
Oh, I love this. Boom, boom, boom. I love you can pick up two of the guys at the same time and then smack them together.
There's just two last things I want to say before we have to end this. One, I do appreciate that this game, you know, was a step to bringing Sonic back. But unfortunately, there are people who will never appreciate, like, even the games that have been made since then. There are people like, say, Eagle Raptor or Frazier of Video Games Awesome, who will just think that Sonic is bad forever. They will never be pleased, no matter how far he comes. The Dark Age is still going on. Sonic 06 happens, so Sonic is just beyond recovery. They don't acknowledge, you know, Sonic Colors or Generations or Lost World or whatever. It's just, if it has Sonic's face on it, it's unsalvageable.
Again, that's why part of why I wanted to do this retrospective back in like 2010. You know, it's hard to be a Sonic fan when I tell all my gamer friends that, like, no, there's Sonic titles have tons of quality titles. It's just a lot of them get thrown under the bus because, oh, it's Sonic and you have, you know, Sonic 06 and Shadow has a gun and, you know, all this other crap, and it's just like, these games are good. I like most of them. I mean, yeah, there's some bad ones I'll call out as being kind of atrocious, and I'm not, like, blind fanboyism. Like, it's not like a cult to me. But I do love this series, and I do acknowledge the good parts when they happen, you know?
Me too. Like, okay, to me this game isn't... in some ways it's not great, in some ways it is pretty nice, like the graphics and whatnot. I just think that it kind of lacks direction. It's always going too far this way or that way, and doesn't really have just one good middle ground to me, like a game like, well, like say Sonic's gameplay in Sonic Adventure 1 does. But, I've already said enough of that. You know, Clement, something I've come to realize throughout this endeavor is that you and I really aren't so different. Like, sure, I'm an American and you're a Canadian, but Maine, where I live, is practically inside Canada.
Canada.
So you're basically down the road from me. Like, sure, it's a big place, but Like, I remember back in the days before you had to have a stupid passport to go everywhere. You could just drive up to Canada and have lunch or something, and then say, hey, I went to an entire different country just to get something to eat. Like it's an adventure or something. You know, I know a model in Canada, so maybe someday I'll pay you a visit on my way to see her, on my way to eat at Nicky D's.
Well, how about that, eh?
You'll put on some boxing mitts and pretend to play Punch-Out. I can be Super Macho Man, and you'll be Bear Hugger, naturally.
I'll bring my jar of maple syrup. But thank you very much, Nick, for joining me for Adabat. This is sort of the last true Werehog stage of the HD version. Not so much the Wii version, but we're getting close to the end, everybody. And is there anything else you want to plug or anything?
Oh yeah, shameless plug, Sonic Exodus. It's not dead, people, we're just taking it kind of slow. But we'll hopefully have a new trailer out sometime soon. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome. We'll be back for Adabat Daytime.